Hey, lovelies. How are you doing today? Welcome to Care and Counsel with Emma. Here we talk about everything that concerns ladies, whether you're young, single, married, middle aged, older ladies, whatever it is you are as a lady, we are talking about you. Things that concern you, especially psychologically, mentally. We are talking about such things. Okay, so here we talk about these things to help you become a better lady, to deal with issues of the mind that you might be having and to overcome them. So if you're a lady, if you're a man that loves ladies, that have ladies in your life, whether you're a brother, a father, a husband, you're welcome to Care and Counsel with Emma. So let's get into it. We've been having a book review series, and this is a continuation of it. So the book we are reading is Supernatural Childbirth by Jackie Mize. So we've done the preliminary parts, and we've also done chapters 1, 2, and 3. You do well to go to the channel and you have a look at those. We also have a video on how to get pregnant. So I'm sure if you're here and you're interested in this, that also means you would be interested in how to get pregnant, or you're pregnant already. Welcome to this. So this book is for anyone that wants to conceive, or you're conceived already, you're pregnant already. This will carry you through your pregnancy journey, things you want to know about what God's word says about your pregnancy, how to keep your pregnancy if you've been suffering constant miscarriages, or even if you've gone through it just once. You will need this book to help you sustain your pregnancy till the end. And even after you've had your baby, things you should do, how to apply God's word to yourself and to your pregnancy to get the best results. So today I'm taking on chapter 4. Let's see how far it goes. If I'm able to, I'll finish up chapter 5 in this as well. So let's go. So chapter 4 says, what should I say? Many people think they have to tell the doctors, hospital staff, relatives, and everyone they see just what they believe. My doctor in Mexico was spirit filled and attended the church we were involved with there in Guadalajara. I hope I pronounced that well. That's a very long word. Guadalajara. But we didn't tell him exactly what we're believing for. He respected Terry. He knew he was a man of God. So it was easy for him to go along with us in the things we did tell him. Okay? So when you see me looking down, please, I'm just looking into the book as I read, okay? So please let it not bother you. When the nurses asked me about an anesthetic, I said I wouldn't need any. They looked at me like I was a little strange, but they said, well, we'll have it here, and if you need it, you can ask for it. I said, that's fine with me. That way it didn't disturb them, but yet I had the baby and never needed any anesthetic. Was there I didn't feel that it hurt my faith at all, since the anesthetic was there for them and not for me. That made an impression. They could accept it because they saw me do it, not because they heard me make some wild confession about what all I was going to do. You need to make your confessions out loud first, to yourself and to your husband if he is in agreement, because faith comes by hearing. Second, confess it to God because you're reminding him as well as yourself what he has said in his word. And then thirdly, tell the devil because you certainly want him to know where you stand and that you're not going to budge an inch. No one else needs to know. So firstly, you need to tell yourself, reaffirm to yourself, because faith comes by hearing, to build up your faith. Secondly, you tell God because that is his word. He said you should come, let's reason together. So when you come and tell him the things he says, he stands by his word. He doesn't break his word. Thirdly, you're going to tell the devil. I'm sure that part must have scared some people. They're like, do I need to talk to the devil? Do I need to bring him into this? Don't worry, sister. He has no power over you. So you need to tell him so that he knows where he belongs and where you belong to. So, some things we get into is because we don't have knowledge about them. Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So now that we know, we'll not perish anymore. We'll not have those issues anymore. So don't make the mistake of telling everyone what you're believing. It's enough to deal with the doubt and unbelief that come against your mind from the devil without having to answer to relatives and friends too. Why doesn't it look like it's working? Why hasn't anyone else ever done this? People have asked me, what did you tell your doctor, the nurses, the personnel in the delivery room? Nothing. It was none of their business what I was doing. When you go into the hospital, that's not the time to have all your confession cards out, yelling and screaming with every contraction. Bless God, I'm going to have this baby without pain. It's too late. If you haven't built up a confidence on the inside of you by then, and you are in pain, tell them to give you a shot so you can relax. You don't have to impress anybody. You don't have to try to prove God is God. You don't have to wave your Bible and tell them what a great spiritual person you are. If you walk in with confidence and peace and say, I'm going to have my baby now, they will walk with you. They'll do everything they can to help you when you cooperate with them. But when a woman walks in the hospital like some kind of a religious weirdo, that's exactly what they'll think she is. Then that gives a bad testimony of what a Christian is. Because many times the lady isn't really in faith, and what she's screaming and confessing doesn't happen. Faith is having confidence, being totally at peace, confident that it is all working. And this is the confidence that we have in Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He heareth us. 1 John chapter 5 verse 14. When you go to the hospital, you can quietly make your confessions, your declarations, if you want to. You can talk to your body if you want to. But when the nurse comes into the labor room, you don't have to slap her in the face with your confessions. You don't have to hide anything, but you can be discreet. Just be in control. Do what you need to do to stay in control, but still be kind and act in love to everyone there. Someone that speaks the loudest and is one of the best testimonies we can have as a Christian. Sorry, I didn't read that right. So it's sometimes that speaks the loudest and is one of the best testimonies we can have as a Christian. Let them see the difference. We were living in the United States when I had my third baby. My second one, supernaturally. During the entire last 2 months of my pregnancy, the doctor said I would deliver the baby early. We declared that we had titers, right? We had titers rights. I would not have a baby prematurely because we paid our tithes. Malachi 3:10. And I didn't. In fact, when the doctor decided I was 2 weeks past my due date, he scheduled me to go to the hospital and be induced into labor. That morning, as Terry took me to the hospital, we continued to believe I would go into labor on my own. When we got to the hospital, I was laughing and talking. The nurse was the sweetest one I'd ever had. She took me into the labor room, but before they could induce me, I began to have contractions. So all they did was break my water. When the nurse came back into the labor room, she said, I'm not even going to check you. It's going to be a while before you do anything. I said, I wouldn't be too sure about that. Now, honey, she said, your smile has to change. And your smile hasn't changed yet. So it's still going to be a while. You'll be here until way afternoon. That was at 10:30 a.m. Don't go off too far, I kidded her. Because when I call for you, you'd better get here. I know what I'm talking about. This won't take all day. I have my babies fast. She laughed and went on. In less than 30 minutes, I started having the urge to push. Terry got the nurse, and when she checked me, I was fully dilated and ready to go to the delivery room. She got all excited and could hardly believe it. You did know what you were talking about, didn't you? I told her, you better hurry, as she rolled me down the hallway and laughed. How long do I have? She asked. I'll give you about 4 good contractions. They are lasting a minute and are a minute apart. It will be about 7 minutes. Oh, honey, I better hurry. She barely got me on the delivery table and I pushed one time as the doctor walked through the door, and our third miracle baby, Miss Lori Dawn, was born. The nurse started scolding me immediately. Sorry, she started scolding me immediately. She said, you told me I have 7 minutes, but you didn't give me but 4. I wasn't ready yet. Some doctors do an episiotomy as a routine precaution. We didn't want one and had prayed and had been speaking to my body to stretch. I didn't even have to say anything about it to the doctor. Everything went so fast in the delivery room that he didn't have time to do an episiotomy, even if he had planned to. When the doctor had asked me several weeks earlier about an anesthetic, I told him I had my last baby without an anesthetic, and I don't want to have an anesthetic this time. I did real well and everything went great. I carefully explained that I had 2 other children and a miscarriage, so I really didn't know what I was doing. He readily agreed to do whatever I wanted. He asked, do you mind if I have it there? So if you want it, you can ask for it. Sure, that's fine with me. I told him. That didn't offend me at all or hurt my faith. I knew I wouldn't need it and I wouldn't ask for it. But if it made him feel better to have it there, it didn't bother me. The man who was going to administer the anesthetic was sitting right by my head, but he didn't give me any. After it was all over, he just sat there for a minute, even after the doctor left, and talked with me. He said, in all my career, I've never seen anybody have a baby the way you just did. I wish every woman could have a baby like that. Then he got up and started out, turned around at the door and said, I want you to know you were great. Then he left. I still laugh when I think about it. It was amazing to the doctors and nurses. I didn't have to go in there and tell them what all God was going to do. I went in there and did it. They saw a difference and wanted to know why. Then I shared with them and they listened. Believe before you conceive. We had our 2 boys and my heart's desire then was to have a little girl. The Bible tells us that God gives us the desires of our heart. Psalm 37 verse 4. One night after the boys to bed, one night after I put the boys to bed, I told the Lord, you know my heart's desire. I want a fair-skinned little girl with naturally coily hair, big blue eyes, and a sweet disposition. I want us to have a great friendship, just as I had with my mother. I knew I didn't want her to weigh 10 pounds. So I said I would like for her to weigh between 8 and 8.5 pounds. Our third baby was Miss Lori Dawn, 8 pounds, 4 ounces, which is exactly between 8 and 8.5 pounds. With beautiful blonde coily hair and big blue eyes. God hears and answers prayer. Truly he does. I had the same experience with my daughter and I can testify to that. So many people, after they find out they are going to have a baby, decide to start confessing for a particular sex. They get all carried away. We are painting this room blue because we are confessing this baby is a boy. It would damage our faith if we painted it yellow. It's too late then if you didn't pray and believe God before that baby was conceived. You see, that's too bad. It's too late. Confessing that your baby is a boy won't change anything after conception. That's like walking over to one of your other children and laying your hands on them and saying, I confess with my mouth and believe in my heart. You're really not a boy. You're a girl. It's the same thing. Just because you don't know what sex it is doesn't mean it's not already determined. Because it is, and you can't change it with confession. That baby is just as much all girl or just as much all boy at conception as it is at birth. It won't change. You'll know if your faith worked or not when the baby gets here. Let's be real, folks, not flaky. Let's be real. So I'm gonna stop this chapter 4 here because I don't want the videos to be long. So I'll stop it here and then I'll do chapter 5. I wouldn't wait till a week before I release them. I'll do them back to back. Maybe like maximum of 2 days space so that you can get them easily. I know some people are going through the videos and will want to get a continuation immediately. So I don't keep you waiting. So I believe you were blessed by today's reading, the chapter 4. It talks about how you need to prepare ahead of time. So if you're in the pregnancy already, you don't start praying about the sex of your child. Know that children are not for showing off. They are not for fame. They are not for you to answer, oh, I had all girls, or oh, I had all boys. Nobody manufactures children. Nobody molds children. In fact, we are not even able to mold a finger and give it life. We are not able to do that. Only God does that, you see. So when God sends children to you, especially as a Christian, he sends them for a purpose, not for show off, not for you to, talk down on other people and make them feel bad because you have all things. No, he's sending them to you for a purpose. Take note of that. So when you're asking, you remember I talked about this, I think, in the first of this series. I talked about how that when you're asking God, it depends on the quantity, your capacity to receive, your capacity of faith to receive. So what can you receive? If you know your capacity is not strong enough for supernatural childbirth, like she explained, having your child without issues is a miracle enough. Having your child through cesarean section is a miracle enough. If you know your heart is not settled, your faith has not been built, you're not strong enough to go through the things you want to go through, please, my sister, don't do that. You're putting your life at risk. So, but when you know that your faith is strong and you've been building your faith over time and you're ready to go ahead and do what you want to do, then go ahead in faith. You don't need to announce it to anybody. You don't need to intimidate the nurses and doctors with it. You don't even need to intimidate or intimate anybody about it. That's informing anybody about it. Just go ahead and do it. Faith without works is dead. So you need to show the works and then testify about it later so that people would know what you went through. If you think you're going to forget, do a journal, write them down, the experiences you went through, the thoughts you went through, the things you did, the things you didn't do, and then when you're done, you testify about them. Okay? So that people will not discourage you, so that people will not bring doubts and fear to you, so that you can be able to stand. And it will be lovely if your husband too is in support of this so that two of you can stand together and get the miracle you desire. Have a blessed day and see you in the next one.